this morning I'm joined by Simon, and Simon's visually impaired. I've known him for a long time, and he's basically going to give us an insight into how he lost his vision. So, Simon, straight over to you, mate.
Hi, James. Yes, nice to be involved in this and sort of speak to somebody different. Yeah, my background is I'm ex-forces. I was in the military for 10 active years, and in 2006 I was on operations in Iraq. I was a commander of a recovery team. We went in under heavy fire in southern Basra, and we successfully rescued all 6 people, but unfortunately on the extraction I was shot by a sniper. The bullet went in my left cheek, came out my right cheek. As you can imagine, it ruined my Wednesday morning. Things kind of went well for me at the time. I survived the gunshot wound itself, but also I remained conscious. I was able to do my own first aid for 25 minutes till we got to medical facilities. At that point, I was put into a drug-induced coma, and I was back in the UK within 72 hours. But after 18 days in the coma, when I sort of finally came round, that's when things started dawning on me what had happened and what the sort of prognosis was. So my left eye had been completely destroyed. The optic nerves were ripped off. And my right eye, at the time, only had light perception, but there was a swelling on the retina, and they weren't sure how much scarring that swelling would leave behind. There is a little scar there. It's right over a relatively important bit, and that limits my vision now to about 20-25%. So it's like looking through across the glass or up your eyes underwater. So very similar to people with sort of mid to late cataracts, or maybe late macular sort of condition.
Okay. So basically, once you obviously came out of the hospital and they said, okay, you've only got this much vision, what was the procedure that happened? Did you go through the eye clinic or?
So yeah, so when the first diagnosis, obviously I was with I went through Birmingham hospital facilities. So a guy down there was dealing with it, and because obviously they had to wait for the swelling to go down before I could have a full prognosis, but obviously they knew the left eye was gone. So there was a lot of backwards and forwards, because there was facial reconstruction stuff as well going on. So a lot of backwards and forwards, working out what we need to do next, where I had to wait, where I didn't have to wait. It was very much run by the military medical facilities at the time. So yeah, once I left the hospital, backwards and forwards, eye checks, seeing what's next, seeing what's going right, what might be going wrong, a little bits of surgery here and there to reconstruct my face. My left eye was removed. I got a prosthetic on the left eye. And it was all just like you say, backwards and forwards. And it was quite intense surgery, but that was linked with the other injuries. The eyesight, although it was an issue for me, at the time, that wasn't clinically, that's not what they were concentrating on. They were concentrating a lot more on the facial reconstruction. So yeah, I never really went through that eye clinic sort of route, purely because I didn't really know about the situation that much. There wasn't that information available, and B, as I said, there was a lot more concentration put towards the facial reconstruction, and the eyesight at the time was deemed as a secondary injury. So for about a year, it was literally, with my parents Googling what we could about it to see what opportunities, what sort of equipment, training and bits and pieces are out there. We found some bits and pieces. We got a little bit of help here and there, but nothing really solid. And then somebody put me in touch with, at the time, St Dunstan's, what we know now as Blind Veterans UK. And that's when things started to kind of fall into place. So having those professional people, like your eye clinic liaison officers, like your vision aid support workers, having people like that could actually say, right, that piece of equipment works for you, that doesn't work for you. Having these assessments, having a knowledge of what was available, obviously then doors started opening to what I might be able to do next. I wasn't naive. I knew for a fact that losing my sight meant my military career was over. But all of a sudden, finding out about all these different things out there, there was kind of a glimmer of hope that there was potential for, for something later, something after the injury.
Okay, so obviously I've known you for years, so some of the questions are more for the people watching, but are your eyes at a stable level now?
So yeah, as we are now, as I say, it's about 20-25% vision based on, you know, light, tiredness, and on all those other factors that affect people's sight. But yeah, so when the scarring's stable, the vision I've got now is the vision I'll have unless there are further illnesses linked to just age-related or general wear and tear, so that the injury itself is now stable.
Okay, super, super. Obviously, I know you've got a lot of hobbies, and obviously doing them with a visual impairment, I think, is an important subject to touch on, because a lot of people that lose their sight, from my experience, think their world is at an end and they can't do things, but you're definitely not in that category. So what is it that you do on that, in that aspect?
Well, it's an understandable point of view. Like I say, I mean, I'll be honest, in the early days, I was very much about what I couldn't do, not what I could do. And it's through my friendships within the sector and, you know, the people I've been around. But yeah, today, you know, I've been out on the driving range. I'm hoping to go out and play a round of golf later in the week. You know, again, it's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more adaptive, and, you know, you've got to have someone who's patient enough to watch your ball for you. But I play rugby league. I play disabled rugby league for Leeds Rhinos. I've played for them for the last couple of seasons. I've even managed to put a big shot at Adam Mills. Anybody who knows him, you know, always nice to crack an Australian. Obviously, I work for Blind Veterans UK, so I travel around. I do a little bit of afternoon speaking. I'm always looking for a new challenge, you know, trying to do different stuff. And it's not just about, you know, breaking ground, but it's also about testing myself and proving to myself that, you know, the limitations that are out there, are they my limitations or society limitations? And, you know, standing there and stamping your feet doesn't solve anything. Going out there and giving it a go is that's how you sort it out. You know, me and you have worked together for a couple of years, and we, you know, you know for a fact I travel independently. You've come and helped out, picked up here and there in places, and that's the thing, is that you see what's possible when you give it a go. And I think the more you give it a go, the more willing people are to support and help you. And I often find that the more you just try, the more help you'll get.
Yeah, agreed, totally. I mean, obviously you touched on there, you like challenging yourself. You've done trekked in Costa Rica and across the Sahara. Have you got any other long-term goals, plans?
Just to get out of this lockdown, I think is one of them. Yeah, like I said, there's always something on the horizon there. And you know, I'm getting to an age now where, you know, I've you know, might I retire soon, might I look for new challenges. As I said, taking up the golf, it's something that, you know, when I'm not working as much, it's something to do rather than sit in the house and feel sorry for myself. So yeah, it'd be nice to do a bit more travel and go give it another chance. Like you said, that the Sahara trek was 100 kilometres across the desert. Not a lot to see there, but I wasn't missing much. And then like you said, the Costa Rica one, coast to coast. There were challenges and there were difficulties there, and there was a situation where I had to step out where they were walking through the jungle at night, because it just simply wasn't feasible. I'd have put other people's lives in danger. But everything else I took part in and did, and I think it'd be nice to do those sort of things again. You know, get out there, and especially when you're going out with a group and you have got a disability, and you show other people that actually, you know, I don't need you to sort of hold my hand. Just, you know, a little bit of advice here and there, and I'll just plod on and do what I need to do. And I find that's always nice to change people's perspectives of what disabilities mean you can and can't do.
Yeah, agreed, totally. I mean, obviously I've spent a lot of time with you before the bars and after the bars, and I always find it incredible how you even navigate. But is there a specific tool that you couldn't live without while you're doing these things? I mean, obviously I'm fully aware of what you're using, but I don't see, obviously, you 24/7. So, and I know we all use phones, and you use your phone just as much as me. But is there a specific tool that you think you couldn't live without now?
With the vision I've got, magnification. To be honest, yeah. So I've got the Merlin at home. I've got Da Vinci in the office, but you know, your phones, your tablets, and all that do the audio feedback, you know, are great when you're out on the run, but you know, not everything you can use that. You need, I think, magnification for me with some usable vision is key to my independence, so that I can read my own mail. You know, I can have a look at a picture. As I say, the phone is great. Everybody's got a different thing that they use and that they rely on and put the faith in. But for me, I still like to use what I've got. And without magnification technology, without that sort of stuff, I wouldn't be able to do that. So it's nice, you know. What as part of my work, you know, I do a lot of work in schools, and you'll often get a letter from the kids and things like that, or you know, they'll write a card, and to be able to put that card under and see what the kid's written and read the messages and see, you know, look at how you've influenced their life, or look at the sort of impact you've had on what direction they want to take. I think for me, if I wasn't able to do that, it wouldn't make it as enjoyable. So I think
there's certainly a lot of personalisation there, isn't there?
There is, and everybody uses somewhere different, and you know, everybody has got a different visual impairment, and they use it in different ways, and it affects their life in different ways. I'm 6'2" and I weigh, you know, 18.5 stone. I played rugby all my life, ex-soldier, and I still play rugby now because I'm daft. But you know, I'm not worried about bouncing into stuff and banging off things. Whereas, you know, doing the little technical bits and pieces. You know, I was an engineer beforehand, so I can't do that. But to be able to do little bits of it and just sort of get involved with bits and pieces is huge for me, because it means that all that knowledge and skill base that I gathered over all them years isn't wasted. I can still do bits and pieces, albeit a little bit slower and using a little bit more support.
Okay, yeah, super. Are you still selling your book? Do you want to give your book a push?
Yeah, the book's still out there. Like I say, unfortunately, the author's not been so well recently, and not due to the COVID. He just, he got a bout with the big C, which a lot of us, you know, have influenced in our life. So that's kind of been put on the back burner a little bit. But yeah, the book's out there, and it talks, like I said, looking forward was what we called it. And it talks about going through adversity, but it's all about what you do next. You know, you talked about some of the challenges I've taken on and bits and pieces, and you know, I lost my dad a couple of years ago, and I know you know what that feels like. And you know, he always used to say, you know, one of his things was the measure of who you are is not what you've done, but what you do next. And I certainly with the vision impairment, you know, you can get trapped in the early days of this, everything I can't do. Well, there are going to be limitations. I'm not going to lie, it's not going to be easy, and there's going to be stuff that you're restricted by, but there are going to be things that you're not restricted by, and they're the things that you should focus on. And that's very much what the focus of the book is. It's kind of, what can you do? You know, what is your next achievement? There's no point shutting off life goals because something's making it difficult. You know, that just makes the achievement all that more impressive.
Yeah, I agreed totally. Obviously, I've read it already. I bought a copy, and it's a great read, so I definitely recommend it to anybody. I think the last question, mate, and it's the most important one by far, is the forest going to go up?
Oh, I thought you won a weekend, didn't you? Yeah. I'd like to say, everyone's getting excited around Leeds. Are they going to do it?
Well, not quite everybody, mate. Not quite everybody.
Well, I am, yeah. So I'm not really that bothered. But no, I think Forest. I think the form team at the moment is Brentford. I think that's who you've got to worry about. I think West Brom will get it together, and I think Leeds and West Brom will get the automatics. And I think Brentford are your problem.
Should be interesting, mate. Should be interesting. I'm just glad it's going to finish, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like you said, stuff like that. You know, you've looked at League One and League Two, and they're kind of, you know, they've gone on statistics and stuff like that. Whereas you think, you know, all those players have put all that effort in, and you know, and the supporters have, and to give it a chance to actually get a proper result, a proper finish, and you're not left in any doubt. Then, you know, if you go through playoff finals or you're not promoted or whatever, there's never that. Well, it might have been. You know, well, if we'd have had a chance, you actually now know how it's going to finish with a reasonable result. And how's it going to be for you? Not being, you know, you're going to have to watch the final on the TV if you go to play a final.
I know, I'll be just devastated. I don't think we'll get that far myself, but touch wood. Okay, mate. Well, thanks for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure as always, and hopefully I'll catch up with you for a beverage or two sooner rather than later, mate. And thanks for your time, bud.
Well, like you say, it's going to be nice to get back out there, and I think all of us that do all the travel and get involved and go to the events, we like getting involved. We like helping and supporting people, and there's a lot of people out there without the right, you know, that haven't got that support system around them, that can't, you know, have that positive outlook. They're looking for something, and I think that's something we provide out on the road at the event. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that and helping people out. And as you say, sit down, have a curry and a beverage, and tell some old jokes and some old war stories, and get back to a little bit of what we call normal.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. Okay. Well, thanks for your time, mate. And like I say, I'll give you a bell in the week, buddy.
All right. Stay positive and stay safe.
And you, Si. Take care, mate.